Oh, hey. So here's the scenario. You're in a small plane flying over a little patch, a little desolate patch of the South Pacific Ocean. You're alone, kind of a Amelia Earhart situation here. The plane goes down. You manage to make it to a deserted tropical island. Now that has enough food, vegetation, the fishing, where you can survive, but you're going to be there for the rest of your life. No one's ever going to find you. Kind of a Gilligan's Island situation there. So it's not a Tom Hanks situation. Well, I guess, didn't they get off Gilligan? No, but then they went back. Yeah. Anyway, you're stuck there for the rest of your days. Now you are able to salvage some equipment from your plane, from your wreckage, your machete. Also a turntable. Let's say it's solar powered, so it'll work for the rest of your life. No problems on this tropical island. Yeah, tuck this in here. Now you had very little room, for luggage and everything else on your plane. It's a little tiny plane, and so you were only able to pack 15 records for your turntable. And you knew this was a dangerous flight. And so you've kind of thought about this ahead of time. What if I am stuck out there somewhere? Which, of course, now you are. What records would you bring? Let's figure that out. Let's talk about that. Hey guys, welcome to the island of Amity Tracks. So this, of course, is the desert island scenario, right? Where if you're given a number, I'm given 15 albums that you could pick, and that's the only music you could listen to for the rest of your days. In our scenario, you're stuck on a tropical paradise, but alone for the rest of your life, somewhere in the South Pacific. And so you were able to bring 15 records. What would those be? I'm going to give you mine, and play along in the comments. Please do list your 15 in the comments. We can all look at each other's lists and talk about them and just have some fun. I mean, I think most music fans have played the desert island scenario here, right? Although ours is a tropical island, it's not a desert. So anyway, here we go. So the rules are simple. The rules are simple. Um, 15 albums. They can be of any type. So studio albums, live albums, compilations. You're just able to grab 15 records. Now, I'm going to allow double albums, and that might be part of your considerations. Like, oh, well, I can fit more music if I grab some doubles. Okay, but you got to really like those doubles, right? So, anyway, yeah, I'm going to allow some double. I've got some doubles in mind. My rules, my island. So I'll allow some doubles, but doubles is it. No triples, no box sets, none of that. At most, a double album, but they can be of any type. Doesn't even really have to be music. I mean, it could be comedy albums. You want to bring, Eddie Murphy, comedian, little Bill Cosby. Oh, well, probably shouldn't bring Bill Cosby, should we? Yeah, but it doesn't even have to be music. It's 15 records of any kind for your tropical island. All right. I guess I should put the machete aside. Don't want that around the records, I guess, right? Okay. So here we go. Here's my 15. Oh, it could be bootlegs too. Doesn't even have to be like official stuff. Anything, just 15 of them. So, yeah, I've got 2 boots. I got some live. I got some comps. I got some studio. I got some jazz. Obviously, got some rock and roll. Even a couple soundtracks. I like soundtracks. Any of this stuff. Okay. Well, first, I'm going to start with my very first concert. Oh, I guess there's a CD player on there too, because I've got 1 CD. So you got a CD player and a turntable, because I only have this on CD. And it's a bootleg of the very first concert that I ever attended, Dire Straits in Houston, Southern Star Amphitheater, 1985, on the Brothers in Arms tour. Hey, if you watch our Dire Straits video, I talked about this a bit. Um, but it happened to be broadcast nationally on the radio, so it's a heavily bootlegged and good quality show, and it's amazing. I mean, I listen to this so much and just connect with it so much. I was there, right? It's my very first concert, so I'm gonna bring my Dire Straits concert with me. My 2 favorite artists, Bruce Springsteen, Neil Young. I need something from each. I think Neil Young's Live Rust does the job for Neil. It is a double live, half acoustic, half electric, so kind of covers both sides of his musical personality, whichever mood you're in. I talked about this before. Also, this is I learned to play guitar off of this record, basically. So super important. Love it, love it, love it. Now for Bruce, I'm gonna bring a bootleg. I'm gonna bring what I think is his greatest show, at least that I've ever heard. Winterland, 1978. Oh crap! I just broke my own rule. It's a triple. I said no triple. Okay, one exception. And if I'm breaking the rule, I guess you can. You can bring one triple, because I'm not going to switch this out. So, but it all fits in a sleeve, so it would fit in the airplane pretty pretty tightly. So it's not like a box set or something. So, all right, you can bring one triple. So yeah, Bruce Springsteen, 1978, the Winterland show, Darkness on the Edge of Town tour, just the most electrifying live show I've ever heard from Springsteen, and I've heard a lot of them. I've got a lot of them. So this one, all right, that takes care of my Neil and Bruce. I need some jazz. Yeah, I'm actually a pretty big jazz fan. I got a decent jazz collection. We haven't really focused on that too much on this channel yet, but I'll do some jazz episodes coming up. But you need some jazz. See, oh, here's the thing. I didn't mention this as I was going through. Um, these are not, at least for me, not necessarily my. These are not like my top 10 or top 15 records. If I'm going to list like my favorite top 15 records, this is not necessarily that list, actually, at all, because I wouldn't allow comps and all that kind of stuff on an official list anyway. But yeah, you got to think through the scenario here. This is all you've got for the rest of your life. So maybe, you need some eclectic. Sometimes you're in a kind of more mellow mood. Sometimes you want to rock out. And, so you got to kind of plan for all of that, right? And yeah, I need at least, I brought 2 jazz records. I need some jazz on my island. So I grabbed Ramsey Lewis, The In Crowd, live. Was it 65? Yeah, 1965. It's a very special one. This is my favorite jazz record. Now, by no stretch am I saying this is the greatest jazz record, most important jazz record, but it's my favorite. Just a lot of personal connection to it. My dad gave me this, and it's just a just hot show in some small jazz club, and you can hear the audience, you can hear it, and they're just grooving, and yeah, this is just great. I gotta have that. And then this is not an original choice at all, but another thing you have to list or think about is listenability. Like, okay, I gotta listen to this the rest of my life, and this record just somehow never gets old, even though it's an obvious pick. But Miles Davis, Kind of Blue, gotta have that. I mean, imagine that, looking at the stars at night. You're playing this. Very nice, very nice. I need some blues, so this is a key blues compilation for me. the Best of Chess Blues. So it's a 2 record uh, comp covering the classic era of chess. So it's got Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf on there, Jimmy Rogers, Elmore James, Sonny Boy Williamson, Otis Rush, Buddy Guy, John Lee Hooker's on there, Etta James, Coco Taylor. This will satisfy my blues fix. I'm definitely gonna have some blues when I'm on the island. I get kind of lonely out there the rest of my days. So I also figured I needed something. I needed like foundational rock and roll. Oh, actually, foundational rock and roll would be the '50s, but well, I guess what I mean is I need some Beatles and Stones, right? So I'm only gonna bring one of each. I'm not gonna bring in like more than one from any one artist. So I picked the blue comp for the Beatles, kind of more into their later stuff. Double album. It's 1967 to 70. So I think this will cover the Beatles as best I can in one pick. Yeah, because it starts basically Strawberry Fields, Forever, Penny Lane, double single. Uh, then it gets into the Sergeant Pepper stuff, and oh yeah, from there to the end. So yeah, it's not perfect, but if I grab one, that's pretty good. Same deal with the Stones, sort of a foundational comp for me. Hot Rocks, 64 to 71, double album. Uh, this was my introduction to the Stones. And again, if I'm your bang for your buck, if I'm going to grab one record, this is probably the best thing that I could grab. All right, I need at least one like really big dumb rock album. Kiss fits that bill. So yeah, if I want to rock out and just big dumb rock, I mean nothing's better than Kiss Alive, right? Again, a double live. The material, it covers that material off those first 3 records, which which I love, especially the first 2. I love those records, and these are all like the versions of these songs, right? Kind of notoriously, those first few Kiss records weren't produced really well, and so these live versions kind of blow most of the studio versions out of the water. Yeah, so that's my big dumb rock album. But I might be in a mellow mood sometime. And I do love soundtracks. This one has been pretty key for me since this came out. When did this come out? 1989. I love Vangelis's work, and this is themes. So this is a single record comp of a lot of his soundtrack work. And just beautifully moody, ambient, but there's some harder edge stuff on there too. Just gorgeous all the way through. If I'm in kind of one of those moods, this works for me. It's got some stuff from the Blade Runner soundtrack, which is key. Really key for me. It's got two tracks. Well, it's got the opening and ending tracks from the soundtrack, which is still unreleased, although you can get bootlegs of The Bounty, the film The Bounty, which I love that movie. The soundtrack I think is just stunningly great, and this is, as far as I know, the only place you can get an official release, at least of the opening title credits and the ending title credits. They're both on there. Super moody, super great. One other soundtrack. I mentioned this in my 77 video. Again, as a kid, foundationally, the Star Wars soundtrack, double album. If I, again, maybe on my island, I want to watch Star Wars, but I can't. This is the next best thing. You listen to the soundtrack. It's so keyed to the movie. You can just replay the whole movie in your head. Listen to this. Yeah, if I want some orchestral stuff, the closest I'll get to, desert island level classical stuff for me, probably the Star Wars soundtrack. All right, I need some Peter Gabriel, so I'm gonna bring Plays Live. It's live album, double album, live album. Um, Basically a real good summation of the first era of his solo career. This came out right before So came out. So it's pre-So, but those first four albums. And so yeah, it's a good sort of mix of the material from the first four albums. Again, bang for your buck. Double album covers those four records pretty well. Peter Gabriel plays live. This comp, another double album, but this comp has always been big for me. This might be a little surprising. If I'm going to bring some Kinks, it's going to be Come Dancing with the Kinks. Double album here. Uh, might be surprising because this is, far from their most celebrated period. I haven't done, we're going to do a Kinks week at some point because there's a lot to cover with the Kinks. But yeah, this doesn't cover that mid to late 60s period, which is, again, is their most critically acclaimed, most celebrated. And I mean, obviously, I'll talk about that when we get to the Kinks. But I don't know, man. For me, this was my entry point. Their Arista years, when they were on Arista Records, it says here 1977 to 86. From 77 to 86, when they were more kind of sort of arena rock, but just really tight, great rock pop songs. Man, I just love this material. And again, bang for your buck. It's there's about 7 records put out during this era. This is an almost perfect collection from that era. That just works for me. Yeah, I want some arena rock, just straight ahead rock and pop. That'll give me that fix. And finally, yeah, it's been all live, boots, soundtracks, comps. But yeah, again, if you're thinking, you're trying to collect on just 15 records. But I do have 2 studio records here that are just essential for me to have. I just can't imagine not having access to the Joshua Tree. U2's The Joshua Tree. I think for me, the most incredibly produced record. I just love the production on here, and that first side especially is just a perfect side. That'll be another episode we'll do on this channel. Perfect sides, definitely. Anyway, gotta have the Joshua Tree. And finally, there is no way I can go the rest of my life without having access to this. I've probably listened to this record. If you want to pick a single, like studio, non-compilation, whatever record, I probably listened to this record more than any other record in my life. This was, I think, the first record from a group or a band or an artist that I really loved, based on my age. I can still put this on and I just love it start to finish. I probably haven't put it on in a couple of years just because I know it so well. But like anytime I put it on, I immediately I'm happy. It's gonna be men at work, business as usual. Gotta have it. Yeah, you watch this channel, I'm a huge booster of Colin Hay. But yeah, the whole band, man, their debut, business as usual, 1982. Essential for me. I can't be on an island without that. So that's 15. That's 15. Now I was really struggling, so I'm going to show you the one that just was on the outside of the bubble. I was really trying to put this in, but I couldn't take any of these others out. I really did want to put Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young So Far, a single album comp that basically covers those first 2 records. Crosby, Stills and Nash and Deja Vu. Got most of the essential songs off of those 2, plus the 2-sided single Ohio and Find the Cost of Freedom. Man, this was like so, and this would fit too because kind of acoustic folky. I don't really have too much of that. So if I could slip a 16th record, this would have been it. But if I got to play by the rules, then that didn't make it on the plane. But if I could have snuck it in, that'll be the next one. All right, guys, well, that was fun. So I want to hear yours. I want to hear your 15 records that you would bring if you knew somehow had an inkling ahead of time that you were going to be stranded somewhere. You had access to a record player, but you could only bring 15 records in the unlikely scenario that would happen. All right. So like I said, in the comments, put your 15. Let's talk about it. It'll be kind of fun. And please do subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out. We appreciate everyone who's subscribed already. It helps us do what we want to do. Hit the bell for notifications, for new videos. Like the videos, all that great stuff. Be awesome. All right, we'll see you guys next time.